Hey everyone, it's Darren. Welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the if functions. And I say functions because there's actually about half dozen of them that we're going to be using today. Um, the first one is simply if. If is the one you're going to use the most. You use it a lot. You're probably already using it a lot. Uh, so let's take a look at what the syntax is on the if function. So if we do equals if A2 is greater than B2, then greater. And false. Well, I didn't type in false, but it did false. And if you look here, it says, if one is greater than two, greater. Well, one isn't greater than two, so it gives false. Well, if we just copy this down here, let's see, on the next line, we have if A3 greater than B3. Well, if two is greater than one, it is greater. Okay. So you can actually extend that down here a little bit, and you can do if A4 is greater than, excuse me, if A4 is greater than B4, then greater. And see, there's a second optional parameter on here, which is the value if false, less than. So see, one is less than two, and the greater one still works. So what if we just compare to a number and see if a number is true? So if we do equals if A6 true. And A6 is true, which means 1 is true. 100 is true. Minus 1 is true. Minus 100 is true. Any guesses for 0? 0 is false. Um, what about text? Text actually gives you an error when you try to do that. So you can do just a straight number. In fact, there's reasons for doing that. For example, if you're counting up, how many you have, you say, if this is true, then go with it. If it's 0, then it's false. So programmers use that trick all the time. There are cases in Excel where that sort of thing is also useful. Text, on the other hand, will always give you an error value if you try to do an if function on it. Speaking of errors, let's take a look at some. These are the errors that Excel can give you. Go check out the error video linked down in the description. Talk a little bit more about these errors and what you can do about them. Uh, but there's two functions Excel provides that let you manage them. And those are the if error and the if NA functions. Uh, so I'm not going to go into all these errors in depth here because if you're interested, just click on that link down below. It'll explain all these errors in detail. But if we do equals if error of B2, sorry, yep. If error and if NA both have a single parameter, which is what to do if it's an error. If it's not an error, it just lets the calculation go through. If it is an error, it does this. So if we look at this for all of these, so all of these errors, it replaced with that. 10, not an error, left at 10. Text, not an error, left at text. Okay, what about this other one? Well, NA is something that actually you tend to run into a lot once you start to work with big spreadsheets. Spreadsheets with tens of thousands of customer numbers potentially. You're putting in a customer number and you try to match it to an address. You're probably going to get uh, cases where the number got mistyped or whatever, and you don't find it, and that'll kick out an NA error message. So there's a special error message for that, and that's if NA, and value again we'll do B2. Uh, not found. And you see, in this case, this divide by zero, that's not the NA error. So it gives that. But if we copy this down to all the others, we see, the value error. No, wait, the NA one came out not found, which is exactly what we wanted. The other errors didn't change, and the ones that weren't errors, they didn't change either. Uh, so with these two, you can kind of filter through as you run big spreadsheets, and you can sometimes actually put values in or whatever. Check out the error video. I give quite a bit more information on how to actually try to manage your errors. Okay, now we have some of the other issues. Like, let's say you want to identify what color you have. Um, so my database has a list of colors. I have a spreadsheet with a list of colors. And then I have a table over here with all these colors in it. Um, so if I do an if function, so I do if d2 equals b2, then a2, false. Okay. So 2 isn't red. So then I realize, okay, well, what I need to do is probably stick in something for false. So what I put in here for false, I put in if d2 equals b3, then a3. Orange. Okay, cool, I got it. Well, that wasn't too terrible. So let's just add some dollar signs on here so that it will copy down correctly. For columns A and B. And I'll copy this down. And well, I found red because red was one, but obviously I only did two colors. So if you want to do all of them, then this if statement needs to get another if thrown in there. So this one then would be what? This is going to be if D2 equals B $4, then A $4. Yeah, I put it in the wrong place somewhere. Oh, it's because it needs to be inside of that parentheses. And now I've got yellow on here too. And you can see if I just extend that out and put in four more statements like that, I'll have all the colors. Um, that's it's manageable, it's doable for 7 colors. What if I had 200? Um, that gets really, really long, really, really quick. Um, so there's another function that you can use instead, and it's a little bit easier. It saves you some typing. Your parameters are pretty much in the same order. Um, so the next function that we have is ifs, ifs. It's multiple, as in a plural form of if. Ifs, and then you have test one. So ifs d2 equals uh, B$2, then A$2, which looks exactly like your first if statement, but now you just do another comma, and then D2 equals B$3, comma A$3, comma, and now you're doing your logical test 3, which is D2 equals um, B$4, A$4, logical test 4 is D2 equals B $5, comma, A $5. And I'm just going to end it there because you see where we're going. Um, and now we take this down, and the ones that are NA, remember I mentioned when you look up in tables and stuff, you tend to get NAs. Um, so the ones that I had listed there for the colors are all there. And it's a lot shorter than than this big ugly nested one here. So that's an improvement. If you look here, these are in sets of two. So you have a condition and what to display. A condition and what to display. A condition and what to display. And you have to state the full condition every time and what to display every time. And as soon as it finds a condition that's true, it displays that and stops. So even if 10 conditions are true, when it hits the first condition, that's where it stops. Okay, so this is an improvement. It's not great. Um, the next level up, and if you're a programmer, you've probably already encountered this. So let's mark these here. This is if, this is ifs. The next one we're going to do is switch. So the switch statement is a little bit easier, although yeah, if you're not used to it, it can be a little confusing. So that's equals switch. And what are you looking for? In this case, it's D2 again. Value 1 is going to be B2. And what to do if it's B2? Well, that's A2. And actually, I'm going to throw a couple of dollar signs on here to make it so I can copy this down more easily. And then you don't need to put the B2 in again, or the D2 in again. So now we'll just go to, if it's B3, then the result is A3. If it's B4, the result is A4. If it's B5, the result is A5. If it's B6, the result is A6. If it's B7, then the result is A7. And if it's B8, the result is A8. And that gives us orange there, but that actually gives us all of the colors. And you compare that length to that length to that length. They're all about the same. This one got all the colors, that one got 4 colors, that one got 3 colors. So it gets a little bit easier as you go. Okay, so there's one that's a little bit shorter still, and that's the choose statement. The choose statement has some very rigid restrictions on it. Your options have to be in order. They have to be sequentially from 1 up to 254. There's a maximum of 254 options, and it's choose the index number. The first one's 0, or first one is 1, obviously. So in this case, the one we're looking for here is going to be D2 still, and then your values. So it's A2, A3, A4, sorry, it's $1.2, $1.3, $1.4, $1.5, $1.6, $1.7, and $1.8. And I can copy that one down. And that one didn't take nearly as much thought to put together. And like I said, choose has some serious limitations on it. Uh, these have to be in order. Your first one is 1. And actually, technically, these don't have to be in order. Technically, this order determines the numbers. So the first thing you list is 1. The second thing you list is 2. The third thing you list is 3. Those could even be on different sheets if you wanted to. But typically those are going to be sitting in a single row or column somewhere, just because that's what makes sense. So those are the if statements. Those are the basic ifs that you have in Excel. Remember your standard if statement, the one you're going to use a lot is just if, uh, if then, and then you have the option of adding an else. Uh, in Excel speak, it's if condition true false. Although a lot of people think it's easier to do if this stuff, then that stuff, else that stuff. Uh, and you can nest these as far as you want. You can put them really deep. You can put all sorts of complexity into it. As you get more and more complex, it might make sense to make intermediate columns, intermediate cells as you go. Uh, Remember to handle your errors. And if things start to get really more complicated, you can use the ifs, the switch, and the choose functions. Hope this video was of use to you. Hope you learned something. If you learned something, please hit the like button. Also, be sure to hit subscribe and notify so you can see when I release new videos. I also have a Patreon page at patreon.com/data analysis excellence. If you can help out the channel over there, that would be great. And hope to see you again soon.